let's jump right into it. We have a PlayStation 4 Slim, 500 gigabyte. It actually used to be a 1 terabyte, but I had to reduce it. We're going to take off the cover right here. I had to reduce it because the hard drive was corrupted and it needed to be replaced. But as you can see here, I did not get it with a screw in there, so I'm going to try to find one. You're going to have a little ribbon right here. You're going to pull on that gently, pull the hard drive out. Right here is going to be the security screw. You're going to have to remove this. It is going to void your warranty, because we all know that we still have a warranty. I have warranty stickers, so I'm not going to worry about it, and I'm going to be replacing it, so it'll be fine. You can use some IPA alcohol, and you could try to remove it without damaging it, but we're going to take the screw out right here. It's a Torx bit. I believe it's a T8. It's going to be this one right here. It's going to get the screw out. It's a fairly simple job. Don't need any special tools. Turn the PlayStation over, and from the back end of it right here, you're just going to grab on the middle and you're just going to pop it open. Just like that. So grab the two corners and just pop up the two corners. And then there's going to be some more clips right in the middle. Just go down the edge and pop them up. And then when you get towards the front of the PS4, you're going to slide it back. You're going to slide it towards yourself and then up and out. I would highly recommend labeling all of your screws. We're going to take off the screws for the chassis that holds the motherboard. There's black, silver, and then there's 4 very small ones. I would recommend label all of them. We're going to flip the PS4 back over really quick. We're going to take off the top cover. You do the exact same thing. You just grab the corners, pop it up, and then just go along the edges and just pop them up. And that would be able to come right off. Very easy. We're going to be using the Phillips head. It's going to be a J00, I believe. And then there's 2 of them that are Torx bits. So right here is going to be the short screw. I circled it. This is going to be for the power supply. And then this side, there's 2 screws and they are different lengths. This side closest to the fan is going to be the long screw. We'll talk about that later on in the video. Oh, this one is a Phillips. So I'm going to take those out. Let me switch the bit. So the short screw goes furthest away from the fan. Longer screw is closest to the fan. Just so you remember. Honestly, they only go in one way anyway, so even if you put them in the wrong hole, it's not going to matter. They're not going to screw in, so you'll figure it out. We don't need to take the power supply off just yet, but we're going to flip it back over. Whoop, there goes that. Just set that to the side. We don't need to take out the power supply just yet, and there's actually one screw. I didn't talk about it, but the screw that I took off earlier, right before I flipped it over, that was the one that was actually holding the power supply on. So right here, we're going to take off the Wi-Fi antenna. And then we're not going to disconnect it or anything. You just leave it to the side right there. So now I'm going to start working around the chassis and just make sure that we take off all the screws. I'm going to set them to the side right here, so hopefully the camera will catch it. Make sure you label these. I can't stress it enough. I'm going to have some guidance and some help. These are all the black ones right here, and then there's some on the edges, and then there's some silver ones on the edges too. So I'm going to have a little guide later on in the video that will help you if you don't take my warning and label everything. So I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. I'm going to go ahead and take these off. There is a ton of them. So I'm going to speed up the video here. Okay, once you have all of those off and you've labeled them, all these 2. So these 2 up here are going to look like this. That's 1, 2, and then there's 2 right here by the hard drive, by the black plastic. Those are going to have the short ones, the silver ones, and then the black ones. So now we're going to take off the ribbon cables. 3 of them out of the 4 are just pull-outs, but this one right here is going to be a clamp style. So you're just going to use your fingernail, gently pull it up, take your time, don't break it. If you break it, you will be replacing your motherboard. Take your time. These ones, you just gently pull them out, and then that one's going to be the clamp one, and that just comes right off. We're going to disconnect the fan. Just going to work on each one of these. Take this one out. Now we're going to flip it back over, and there's going to be one screw right next to the power supply, and that one is also going to be a Torx bit, T8. We're going to take that out. That's holding the motherboard still in with the chassis, so we need to take that one out. That's the one I forgot earlier. Not a big deal, and that goes right there. So there's also going to be a couple more screws here that I didn't touch on. There's 2 black ones and a silver one on the other side of the hard drive. So I'm just going to grab those real quick. I was seriously mind blown by the amount of screws that are holding this thing together. It's crazy. Okay, got those all off. So now you'll be able to just gently pry this up and pull it off. You have your thermal pads right there. Just make sure you don't lose them. If they are dried, um, falling apart, breaking, anything like that, make sure that you replace them. If they're still spongy and in good condition, kind of gooey a little bit, things like that, then they're fine to leave. These ones are still in really good condition. There's no need to replace them. And they're still sticky, so that one was just off a little bit. So next we're going to take off the processor clamp. Just 2 screws. I like to just do one side at a time slowly so that it doesn't put uneven pressure on the processor. And then just slowly loosen it. Take that off. Now this piece that's under it needs to come out straight up. If you come out at an angle, it will not come out of the hole. You have to get it straight up. There's nothing holding it in. None of that. I'm using a flathead, but just very gently. Don't use the flathead against the motherboard. Just use it to pull it up. We're going to flip it back over. And now we're going to take off the power supply. Just grab the back end and just pull it up slowly. Careful not to break it. And just work around the edges and pull it up. And then there's going to be one wire right here on the corner. And you're just going to, it's very short. There's not a lot of room to work with it, but you're just going to reach in and unplug that. And then there you go. So that's where the plug is right there. It's very short. It's very hard to work with. But it's not that bad. If you have small fingers, it's a lot easier. Okay, so we're going to flip it back over to the motherboard side, and we're going to disconnect this wire right here. Again, same thing. They don't give you a lot of wire to work with. So if you need to move the motherboard a little bit, I found that just kind of loosening it up and then putting the screwdriver under it just to kind of bring the wires up a little bit allowed me to grab onto it and pull it out. I also use the flathead to help pry on the plastic gently, of course, but that way I'm not pulling on the wires to pull it out. There we go. Okay, we flip it over and then you have all your thermal paste. This is also a good time to replace the battery. So I'll be doing that. And then we're going to clean up the CPU and the heatsink. I'm going to fast forward it here so you're not watching all of that. I'm also going to clean around the board, clean all the dust, dirt, check out all the soldering joints. Make sure all the thermal pads, if they're not on the metal chassis, that they are on the board. And then these two right here are going to help get the fan off so we can clean the fan. If you're still cleaning your board, this is a good time to just pause the video and take care of that. Clean off the thermal paste and come back to this video when you are done cleaning. So once that comes off, then the heatsink can be removed. You just pull up on the plastic and that will bring it up. Be careful for your Wi-Fi antenna. So I'm going to take all this stuff outside and I'm going to give it a blow and clean it all up. Clean the fan, clean the heatsink, all the parts, the plastic, everything. All the junk right there off. Look at that. Got the new battery that we're going to be replacing it with. Pop the new battery in. The battery is still good, but honestly, you're right here. You're doing it. You might as well just replace it. Okay, we're going to come back on this side. There's going to be 2 screws that are going to hold the fan in. And that just comes off. I'm going to give that a good cleaning. Then you can pop the fan back in. Now I'm going to be applying MX4 thermal paste. Give it some good coverage. And then I'm also going to be replacing these thermal pads that are on the board themselves. One of them I lost. And I'm not going to just replace one. I lost one, so I'm just going to replace all of them. And then there should be 2 on these chips over here. I think different model Slims have different thermal pads, but this is what I saw, so this is how I'm going to do it. And it should be those 3 and then the 2 on the other end right there. Now this little piece right here, you probably lost it. And if you did, you need to find it and it goes right here and that's going to screw, that's for a screw for the motherboard. That's where you place it. If you don't have that, I bet you it's on the floor somewhere. So go find it. Once you have all that done and back in place, then you can go ahead and put the motherboard back into the chassis and it's going to rock in just like this. Kind of put it in at an angle. Whoops, I had it a little lined off. All right, there you go. And then it's just going to fall right in. Now, once you have it in place, you don't want the thermal paste to get pushed around and moved around. So once you drop it in place, go ahead and hold it with one hand on both sides, just like this. And you want to make sure that's where that little piece that I was telling you, that's where it would screw in at. You want to hold it together so it doesn't ruin the thermal paste. Go ahead and set it down. If you're missing 2 thermal pads, they're probably going to be right there on those black chips. So look out for yours. They're right there. So just make sure that they all have the thermal pads again. If they're dried or there's anything wrong with them, replace them. Just going to change the orientation here. So now we're going to put this piece back on and it just drops into place. Make sure that the orientation is the same way. Honestly I don't think that you can, I think you can go both ways, but I don't know. Right here, there's going to be one side that is indented. The top side should be flat, facing you. So just like that, place it down. And then you drop the screws back in. Don't tighten down one side at one time. Do both, one side at a time, but little by little. So do a little on one side, go to the left side, do a little bit, go back to the right side, do a little bit, kind of go back and forth. Don't just crank down on one side. That'll put uneven pressure on the CPU, and you don't want to do that. And I'm just holding it down just to make sure that nothing moves. I don't want the thermal paste to get ruined. Okay, that's all done. Now you can bring this piece back in, the base, and then we're going to drop the motherboard back in. And it's not hard, but it's kind of, you don't want to pull on any of the ribbon cables. So it's kind of a little wonky trying to get the board back in and pulling up all four of those different cables at the same time so that the motherboard doesn't fall on them and damage the ends. Bring this power supply wire. I just kind of hooked it into the hard drive slot. That kept that out of the way. Pull each one of these, just bring them above. There we go, just like that. And then your fan wire, and then go ahead and let it fall into place. If it doesn't fall into place, just be gentle with it, just work it into its place. Nothing should be forced. If you're forcing it, you're going to break it. On the backside by the hard drive, make sure that that part is correct. And then you can go ahead and plug the power supply back in because the chassis is going to go over this. So this is the chance to do this now. I'm going to plug the fan in, but it doesn't matter. You could do that after. Just, you get a little bit more room right now. Same thing, you're just going to pull all the ribbon cables up and over the chassis so that they don't get damaged. Oh, the Wi-Fi antenna was in the way. So again, just make sure in the hard drive area that it's seating correctly, because if not, that'll prevent it from falling into place. And then we can go ahead and plug in the ribbon cables. Just be very gentle with them. Do not bend them. They go in very easily. You don't need to force it. If you're forcing it, stop what you're doing. Figure out what you're doing wrong. Same thing on this one. Don't push down on the black plastic to clip it down. Don't push down on it hard. If you're having to force it, it's going to break and you're going to end up having to replace your motherboard. You can resolder a new one, but it's not anything that your average person can do. It's going to have to go to a professional. There we go. And then these two just, again, they slide right back in. Nice and easy. Just make sure it's straight. They're not crooked. All right, so now we're going to put all of our screws back in. And then we have the 4 small short screws. 2 go by the hard drive and then 2 at the top of the chassis. So one goes right here. It's one right there, and then one right there, and one right there. If you've made it this far, this is a good time to tell you that I'm actually going to put up a diagram where I've circled where every single screw goes. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But before you pause the video, let me tell you what they represent, what the colors represent, and then you can pause it. You can put all your screws back in, and then we can continue with the video. So I'm just putting the screws back in right now. This long one is going to go on the back side. So I have a couple screws in right now, so nothing's going to fall apart. Shouldn't say back side, but the top side. And that's going to go right there in the center. Just put that one back in right now before I forget. Okay, the one screw that was right here is going to be for the power supply. So we need to put the power supply back in before it goes in. And then I'm also going to put the Wi-Fi antenna back on so I don't forget that as well. I don't like it being under the ribbon cable. I should have fixed it, but here we go. Pull it out. A little bit of tape left, so I'm just going to put it right there. So now we can pop the power supply back in, and then we can finish putting all the screws back in on the motherboard. It just drops straight in, but you are going to have to plug this back in. And then you have these two little prongs here that go onto the power supply. So just make sure that they don't bend and you put it in straight. They don't give you a lot of wire to work with, so it's kind of hard to get it in there without damaging it. Once you have that plugged back in, you just press it into place. Make sure it's nice and seated. Now on the back side, we can come back and we could put that screw right there back in, and that'll hold the power supply in. So I'm going to go back around, and I'm just going to continue putting in the silver screws and the black screws. So right here, you can go ahead and pause it. The blue screws are the short, stubby ones that I was telling you about. The red ones are going to be silver, and the black ones are going to be the black screws. So you can pause that if you want to check that out. Make sure that you have all the screws in the right area. Once you have that all done, then we can go ahead and put the case back on. You're just going to drop it in like this. And then it's going to clip back into place. So just be gentle with it and just work it back into its home. If you have to, you could bend the outsides out a little bit so that it falls into place. And then you'll just hear it click. And there you go. So that part's in. And then we're going to do, oh, I forgot the two screws for the fan. So I'm going to put those back in really quick. They look like that, kind of rounded at the top. Okay, now we're done with that. And then the shield, two Torx screws for that one. Remember we talked about the longer screw and the shorter screw. But again, you can't mess it up. So even if you put them in the wrong area, then they still won't go through. So You'll catch it real quick, but I'm gonna put a little demonstration here on the screen, just so you remember which ones are which. So that's gonna be the short one here, furthest away from the fan, just like I said in the beginning of the video, and then the long screws closer. Now we can put the case back on. You have the one side that says PS4 and Sony. That's going to go towards the front. Start at the back and you're going to slide it in just like that to the corners. And then the other side is going to clip in just like that. And then you just press it together. And then you're all done. You just put the security screw back in. If yours came with the hard drive screw, you'd pop the hard drive back in and then put the screw back in. I will be getting a replacement screw for it. It's not a PS4 security sticker, but it'll work and it still serves the same purpose. So I just cut it to size and then I'm going to place that on the back right here. Good as new. Look at that. Perfect. Just going to pop the hard drive back in. And then if you have a screw, you would put that back in. Now the cover just slides back on. It doesn't clip into place. So kind of line it up on there and then push it out a little bit, just like this. And then it just slides right back in. And that's it. You're all done.